quarterfinals of the North American Open for Zenith Leagues. We're going to have Snow versus Goons here on our screen. Just a couple seconds here. Now, I'm very lucky because I've done exactly two previous North American Wild Rift events. And one of them had Team Goons in it. So I have some advanced knowledge. And Yikes is sick. That's my advanced knowledge.
Yeah. Team Goons is basically the AOV super team that's come over to Wild Rift, so they are a very polished group of professionals. I have not seen them play Wild Rift yet, but I'm expecting great things. They have the likes of Yikes, Hoon, MTS, one other AOV member I don't remember, and then the fifth member. So this is going to be really, really awesome going against Team Snow, Team Goons. I'm looking the top of
That's
our.
Beautiful. I didn't even realize we were staring at this for like a couple minutes before the break ended and being like, all right, as soon as the band start, we'll go in. The entire time, I didn't notice that it was Team.
Yeah. In any case, Team Snow, the last tournament that TJ and I cast, they finished dead last, which is not a great sign for them, but
okay.
they have gotten to this, I like to call it the winners semifinals rather than the quarterfinals here. And so they've done a good job to get to this point. However, I don't think, as you can see on the bracket there, that they've defeated the greatest of teams. We did see Team Vay get completely dominated yesterday in the bottom half of the bracket when they went off against Brawl Star Pros. So, Team Snow defeating them only 2-1, not the greatest of signs. I'm going to be honest here, Matt. I believe that Team Goons is going to have a decent time with this team, to put it lightly.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Team Snow. This is my first time seeing them, but Team Goons once again. In the tournament I saw, there were no bans. It was blind pick, so Yikes just went least in every single game and always ended up like 10-0. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. Yikes was just like, okay, I'm the carry of this game. If you have any problems with that, you're dead. Next game.
Yeah, it seems like Yikes really enjoys playing the jungle role. In AoV, he was actually over in the solo lane. So, it works quite well for him. Let's just talk about the bans real quick. We had Leeson, Ziggs, Corki. Then we had Darius, Alistair, and Akali on the other side. Not a whole lot of surprise here other than maybe the Darius, but, it's reasonable to ban him out.
Yeah, so like I said earlier to you before the show started, Daniel, I've been doing a lot of European Wild Rift, and there Darius is like 100% pick ban. You're
really?
See him in every single top lane. He is really strong. The one thing that I was interested in was Alistar because he has slipped through a couple of drafts recently. So, not totally surprised. Lux is still up, which at least in Europe is a pretty high priority pick. So, I'm interested in seeing if that makes it here or if North America has been completely ignoring the Shining Lady in Light.
No, we've had some Lux. It's been mostly, I would say, Tribe and like any teams just trying to play like a lighter composition. But it's typically been one of the better teams that picks Lux, so maybe they're paying attention to what's going over on in Europe. We haven't seen a whole lot of Olaf lately, actually. So that's interesting to see that's being picked here by Goons. Obviously he can be up in that in that solo lane there over the bear lane, or he can be picked up in the jungle. So very flexible pick. And then Katarina showing up. We didn't get a Katarina ban, and the one time we saw Katarina, Matt Snyder, Clan Daniel, is when Katarina absolutely went off and just completely destroyed the other team and made us all realize why she's often banned.
So, this is so much fun for me because I'm coming from the European Wild Rift perspective. I've never seen a single Katarina in any game whatsoever. The first time I saw Katarina in Wild Rift was in solo queue 2 days ago with our producer, TJ. Like, that's the only experience I have with Katarina. And I'm going to tell you, Daniel, that experience sucked for me. I got murdered. So I can see how she could be strong, especially into one of these all-in compositions. You've got the Jarvan and the Malphite for the engage and Katarina to follow up. So I'm interested in seeing how she gets to fare in this competitive meta.
Well, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Katarina, think of it like if Darius, how Darius, when he pops his ult and it kills someone, he gets full stacks of his passive, and then he gets to use his ult again. It's kind of like that, except Katarina can teleport. So
yeah, she gets her whole kit back, so she's just extra annoying.
Yeah, for sure. Jarvan is going to be. I can almost feel TJ giddily. Just being giddy in the background at the Jarvan pick here because he loves himself some Jarvan. I myself, I found him to be pretty ineffective, especially with teams that don't really play too well together. Like it's almost like a litmus test, right? It's like if a good team picks Jarvan, it's like, oh, good pick, solid pick. If a bad team picks Jarvan, it's like, I don't really like that pick. So just kind
Yeah,
of
I
goes with
found it's
Jarvan.
really good. Into combos with something like this Galio that's been picked up for Team Goons. Of course, that means Team Snow's not going to have access to it, but I found the biggest utility for Jarvan is setting up for those combos. You get a Cataclysm plus something else.
Right,
So
exactly.
there's potential here you can see for Team Snow, but I'm really enjoying Goons' team comp so far. There's just so much CC, so many beefy boys on this team. They should just be able to just run through these team fights.
Right, and you know, you could say like, yeah, that you have the Malphite ult to combo with the Jarvan ult, but it kind of feels like overkill to me because you're knocked up so long with the Malphite ult anyway. Do you really need to enclose them in a pit as well? It feels like one or the other is fine. Obviously, you can get Katarina in there, but then Katarina is very like, she kind of thrives in chaos, in my opinion. She doesn't really need to be around a bunch of people. Obviously, if you know the way her daggers work, if she lands on one, she kind of does her little spinny thing and it hurts a lot of people. Her ult can go off as well, but in my opinion, I feel like if she's not touched, she's feeling really good. So if she's better off just kind of being in chaotic situations, in my opinion.
Yeah, which is not going to be fed to her by Team Goons. They're going this really CC heavy composition. With the Gragas now locked in, the thing about Katarina is she does really well, like you said, in chaotic team fights. And I think what that boils down to is fights where she can't be challenged. Fights where she can't be CC'd, where she can't be knocked up, where she can be allowed to do her reset, spinny, Lady of Death thing. She's going to get denied that every single fight here. You've got the Glacial Fissure. Olaf's just going to run her down. You've got taunts from Galio. There's so many ways to stop Team Snow's Katarina from popping off. I wonder what they're going to round out their composition with in order to either enable that Katarina or enact a second carry presence, which I think is the one I'd prefer right now.
Yeah, and not to mention, I mean, besides all of the CC, they also have just a lot of beefy bodies, right? I mean, Gragas. I mean, these champions can build pretty damagey, which makes them obviously a lot less tanky. But the inherent tank in their kits is obviously there with Galio the shield, Gragas with the extra durability on his second ability. So it just makes it hard to get that first kill. And sometimes the difference between your entire team getting aced and the entire other team getting aced is Katarina getting that first kill off.
Yeah. So, I mean, good luck, Team Snow. They're playing into something difficult. I think. So the two picks they have left, right, is going to be both going down in that Dragon lane. You've got the AD carry and the support. I would have liked to see actually something like a Kaisa here. I have not been too high on Vayne, at least from what I've seen of competitive. Is it different here in North America? I haven't really seen her perform as of yet.
That is a big no. This is the first time that we will have ever seen Vayne. So
okay, good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad that crosses the sea boundary.
And not only are we seeing Vayne, it's either going to be a Malphite support or we're going to be seeing Vayne in a dual lane. Both of those things I'm not really happy about. Not really much else to say. I'm just not really happy to see it. And I mean, I guess we can explain. Just Vayne is just, she's usually better kind of picking on people in that solo lane over in the Baron side. She really falls off when you put in a dual lane. She just doesn't really have the sustained damage, especially early, and she has less range just inherent in her kit.
Yeah.
So it's very painful to see the situation if it plays out with her in a dual lane.
Yeah, like the thing that I've seen, the thing that is held true for Vayne is like she's fine if you can get into that later stages of the game with all those items, but like you said, she suffers from incredibly short range even in the late game. And sure, she, like Katarina, has the potential to really pop off, but the more realistic middle case scenario is that she gets bullied in lane and then might not even make it to the late game where she can apply that threat. And by the time you do get to the late game, she's got items, she's getting popped. You've got a Gragas to dive into the backline with that Olaf. She's not going to survive these fights, is my feeling. So you got to find something to protect her, or I guess bully with her.
That could kind of be some sort of protection with the Pantheon here. I feel like Team Snow is a bunch of idealists because they're like, in the best case scenario, Katarina just pops off. We have Vayne just shooting off in the backside, but I don't know how that's gonna totally work out here. Okay, you're the expert, Matt. Here, which are we gonna see Pantheon support or Malphite support?
I think Pantheon support. I think what they're going for is a kill lane down bottom. We've seen it picked up once or twice. It has not really made its way into the greater Wild Rift meta, but I don't know. Malphite support, I feel really poorly about. I like him when he has TP. I like him when he can find that early level 5 and have impact in team fights, and has that durability to sustain through them, apply those E stacks, and get that attack speed slow. So I would really expect this to be a Pantheon bot where you're just trying to snowball that lane, get Vayne out early, and once you can do that, she does become a threat to match that Kai'Sa. But if you can't win that lane, I'm really feeling Team Goons' composition right now.
Again, this is one of those weird biased drafts where you look at it, and if Team Snow was this dominating team, you'd be like, well, they're doing something interesting here. I'm really looking forward to seeing this. But because I feel like Team Goons is the favorite team here, I look at Snow's draft and I'm like, I don't know about this one, Chief. I don't know if this is going to work out too well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the big thing is, right, when you have a really good team, when you have a team that's known for doing really crazy stuff, you see them take something like this that's a high execution composition. Katarina, very high execution. Vayne, very high execution. Not having too much of a front line, depending on how the Jarvan builds, admittedly, is higher execution. Whereas if you have a composition that's just like, we're going to run at them and throw all our CC at them, that's pretty easy to do, no matter how good your team is. So that's why I'm feeling like Team Goons have a composition that, not knowing how good Team Snow are, I'm fine with. I'm completely fine with Team Goons' composition because it has that ease of execution.
Yeah, it's just very simple, straightforward. I like how you had a slight Freudian slip there, where you're like, we're gonna throw off our Olaf at them, or something. Like, throw all of our CC at them. Anyway, yeah, it's just very straightforward. Team Goons, you can see how it's going to work, and it's not like they have champions that are not high skill level either, right? Just not as demanding.
Yeah.
Okay, there isn't like a level that they have to reach just to be able to have a chance to win the game.
Skill ceiling, right?
Yeah. And yeah, they have a medium skill floor but a high skill ceiling, and I feel like we're gonna see Goons here really show what they're made of with these champ selects.
Minions have spawned.
So many names, it brings me back, D2. Oh
For
no.
sure.
This level 1 is nuts.
No.
Jesus gonna have to flash away immediately. It's gonna be almost a Brawl passive stacked up. Got a little bit of lag there, but it was the first blood from Rest of all people.
Yeah,
Hell
too,
yeah,
Rest,
bloodthirsty support.
Rest is, Rest kept hearing about TJ's exploits of being on Braum and stealing the Baron and getting a team wipe with just a single Braum, and he's like, you know what, TJ, I'm gonna take you up on that challenge. I'm gonna be the carry Braum here.
Oh, this is interesting. I was wrong. So it's gonna be the Malphite support. It's got really good poke, but I wouldn't really expect it into Braum Kai'Sa, because Braum can just toss up the shield and Seismic Shard doesn't do anything. It costs a decent amount of mana too. And we have Baron Lane Katarina. Bags, what are you doing? What are you on?
It's really fun. Okay, so for those of you who are not familiar, I guess he's been streaming Wild Rift for quite a while here, but Bags is one of our friends from the caster tournament, obviously a big name in just mobile games in general, especially mobile MOBAs. And if anyone's gonna play on Katarina, I was gonna expect it to be Bags. The funny thing is he does like to play in the solo lane up top over the Baron side, so like the combination of like the most likely side laner is Bags, the most likely Katarina player is Bags. It just led to this moment right now. I don't know if it's the best decision.
Yeah, I'm just kind of. You're playing in MTS as Gragas, which admittedly for as few games I've seen of Goons has always been really solid. And that's the thing about Gragas and Katarina. If you just save the body slam, she can never get a good ultimate off. She can never get those resets.
Yeah, for sure. And you saw even there, you got almost the maximum amount of damage you're going to get in this early stage of the game from Brown Bag, and then MTS just turned on him and put a couple of shots on back even after he'd used his first ability and was like, we're even here. And it didn't really phase him at all.
Because you got the happy hour passive from Grog.
Yeah,
and
you have to go
just
full.
bullied off.
You have to go full Merlin Nomicon in order to get that if you're magic damage dealer.
He's just going for the burst here. Yikes, getting
Oh,
dove onto
nice.
beautiful Cataclysm into the back, but it just doesn't matter. Nobody can find anything. Jiggy has to flash out. The entirety of Goons are just safe. You can see on the bottom side of the fight, Yikes is just chasing. Goom finally falls. There goes Brown Bag, trying to reset, will not find any more. And that will be Sin falling as well. Goons come out of that first team fight of the game, 6K ahead, and a Cloud Drake up.
I think that Goons were just confused by Snow's movement, right? They took out two. They got the Malphite extremely low, and then Malphite suddenly pops his ult along with the ult from Mr. Sir on the Jarvan, and then they're like, "Wait, what? Why are you?"
Brief recap. Herald was picked up by the side of Team Snow, as was MTS under tower through a 3-man dive of Team Snow. However, the 10K gold lead is still being maintained here by Goons, and my God, what an assassination of Sin. Having a real rough time there.
Yeah, it didn't work out too well for him. I want to point out something while this game is kind of, well, I guess Goons are being a bit aggressive, but I want to point out that Goom is on jungle, and we actually have Yikes in that dual lane ADC role. I think in the past, when I saw the scoreboard of one of their matches, Goom, even in a match in which they were pretty dominant, Gume didn't do too well in that ADC role. And so I think they're just trying to get a little bit more balance in their lineup here, having a Yikes to kind of command that dual lane. And it seems like Gume's doing pretty well in the OLO, so might be working out well for them.
Yeah, I think AD carry tends to be one of those ones where you have to play on much more of a tight wire mechanically, whereas your macro knowledge can get you through a lot of the jungle. So maybe Gume was not meshing with the mechanics of AD carry, but these are fantastic players who know the game well. So easy for them to switch around this early into the scene.
Okay, interesting fight here.
Yeah, they really engaged on two fronts again. But this time, Brownbag's having a great time, still popping into the back lines. We'll be able to find Gume eventually. But MTS still alive, as is the rest of Goons. I was hoping for the Katarina pop-off, Daniel. Didn't happen.
Could have happened just a little bit more, but unfortunately, he died at the exact moment that he was able to get that first reset, possibly. And that is Snow just going down without really much of a hitch on the side of Goons. Baron's going to be up relatively soon, and it seems like we're starting the march toward death.
Yeah, we've kind of been on that march for a while, just not really bringing it up because it was just like a bummer of a subject. Mr. Sir has the Herald, sure, but where are you going to drop it with a 12K deficit at 9 minutes? Like, this is a really dominant performance here from Team Goons. I cannot highlight it enough.
All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to drop the Herald in one of the lanes, and then we're going to have a 5v4 team fight on the other side that lasts the entire rest of the game, just complete distractics. And then the Rift Herald goes onto the Nexus and finishes it off.
I'm in. That sounds like a great plan. Unfortunately, Team Goons don't seem to be enacting on it. Here's the team fight coming out. Mr. Sir goes in from the backline. Doesn't find anyone. Yikes is still just unthreatened here. Was a dive from Sin, but Yikes still firing away. Finds the killer instinct onto Sin. The front line got cleaned up by the rest of the team. Yikes stays safe, and they find yet another team fight win for Team Goons.
I love like the might as well killer instinct, the might as well ultimate.
Yeah.
It's like, might as well get the kill on this guy. Just gonna pop this right now. Alright, well, apologize. It looks like we still have some lag issues with the stream. We'll try to resolve that during the break, but for now, we'll keep chugging along here while we see the finish of this game go on. Baron being taken here by Goons. Looks like they're on that warpath right now.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. They're not pushing too hard on anything. One of the things I really like seeing, though, is when you have a team that's this far ahead, just going absolutely balls to the wall and being like, you know what? Let's just take some random team fights here, see what we can do. It is objectively bad Wild Rift play. I will put that caveat in there, but it's just so much fun to watch.
Hey, who are you to say what's good and what's bad Wild Rift play?
You're right. I want to see it. I've seen it happen in pro games, therefore I can say it's good enough for pro leagues.
Exactly. Well, I just want to see the dive onto the towers here. I mean, Snow running away with the a ton of minions pushing onto their inhibitor turrets. I don't want to see that. I want to see them getting destroyed under their turrets.
Oh yeah. I don't even think they're gonna make it. Oh, Pantheon
Oh,
comes
here we
in
go.
with an engage, tries to find something. Yikes gets stunned up. Killer Instincts defensively into the backline, keeps himself safe. Everyone explodes from MTS's damage.
Oh, they're going
Ume
after him.
flashes forward. Pertobelt can't find it, but the
Yikes.
Acathian Rain will. Yikes dies for the privilege of the final kill of the game, and the Goons gonna push it through to a quick 1-0 victory.
Blue team aced.
All right, well, not a whole lot to say about that game other than Goons completely dominant. Not the greatest draft from Snow, not the greatest start to the game. Goons really just running all over them.